As we wait for the Dirt Late Model weekend to get here, I do have updates on a few drivers and their national tour statuses. Yesterday, we talked on the show about Max Blair deciding on the World of Outlaws, so he's going full-time that way. But I did want to point out that the Outlaws did lose a few drivers around the Smoky Mountain weekend. That included Dustin Walker. He was a no-show. I looked around to see if there was any sort of post about why, but couldn't really find anything. Walker spent the last 2 seasons really struggling on the road against these guys, and I'm surprised, honestly, that he made it as long as he did. In 89 career Outlaw starts, his best finish was a 14th last June at Thunderhill, but a lot of kind of back half of the field, B-mains, things like that for Walker over the last couple of seasons. 2 other drivers, Tyler Bruning and Cade Dillard, made the decision to not race at Smoky Mountain based on the threat of severe weather, and they gave up their series status as a result. I'm not sure where this leaves Bruning, but Dillard has decided to go pick and choose for the remainder of the year, and he will contest some of the big-paying modified races as well. He joined Barry Braun's All Gas, No Brakes podcast yesterday, and he didn't really mince words about how he felt about the decision-making from the World of Outlaws officials over the Smoky Mountain weekend, and some previous choices on some trips where you kind of ended up only racing maybe on a Friday or on a Saturday versus having a 2-race weekend. He told Braun, quote, "They don't really somewhat take into consideration the drivers or the crews and just a little more worried about the ticket money, and it just makes it a little less interesting for me to support them," unquote. You can find that full episode over on the XR YouTube channel. I certainly don't blame Dillard for erring on the side of caution. He's got to do what he's got to do, what's best for his family and for his race team and for his guys. But I do think it's important to point out just how difficult things become for everyone involved with these weather situations. And I've said this before, but the Smoky Mountain forecast for Friday, it was fine. But if the Outlaws sack the whole weekend, they're going to then take a beating from the fans for doing that. It's going to come back to they could have raced, what's wrong, the sun's out, all of those things. These big events are also important for a lot of these racetracks, bringing in that added revenue. We know for a lot of tracks, the big events, they make that money on those big weekends, and then that money ends up getting used for the weekly races and some of the other things that don't make money. So no matter what decision the series make in these situations, somebody is going to be upset. And I don't know what the right answer is, but I understand both sides of this one. Dillard and Brent Larson, also a full-time Outlaw driver, did make it a point to spotlight Why Not Motorsports Park on their social media accounts for postponing their entire weekend that happened last Friday, Saturday. So clearly Dillard, not the only one who felt this way.